Hello, people of YouTube. This is Josh coming at you with some of my specialty baking that I was talking about earlier in my last video. We're going to go ahead and start this off with some sugar cookies. I figure it's getting pretty close to that time of year. The recipe that I will be using comes from the Food Network. I'll go ahead and provide a link to the recipe in the description. What I started out with is, let me pick this up real quick. I have a very, very, very small kitchen, so space is at an absolute premium for me. And excuse the flour, but you know, it comes to the territory of making food, I guess. So I started out with 3 cups flour, 3/4 of a teaspoon baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon salt, and I sifted it all into here. Go ahead and set that aside. And what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and take 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of sugar, and we're going to beat the snot out of them until they look nice and light and fluffy in their appearance and this, that, and the other kind of thing. So give me just a second here. I know I'm kind of blocking the view of my beautiful flour tummy. We're doing 1 cup of butter, so that's 2 sticks. You want this at least room temperature so that it's not melted, but that you can work with it and easily cream it with your sugar. All this excitement, I forgot to measure out my cup of sugar there. And that goes right in the bowl. If you're using a hand mixer or a stand mixer, you want to do this generally on low. That way you don't get a bunch of stuff flying everywhere. Ooh, look at that. Nice creamed butter. And to this mixture, we're going to go ahead and add 1 beaten egg, which I took the liberty of beating an egg earlier. Pour that right in there. And we're also going to add a tablespoon of milk. Got my milk right here. Tablespoon right there. Mix this up real quick. Now, because I get kind of bored with just regular sugar cookies, I'm going to go a little bit off the recipe here and add just like a capful of lemon extract. Give it a nice lemony flavor. Why? Because it's freaking tasty, that's why. Now we're on to a slightly tricky part. All the dry ingredients that we sifted together earlier, we're going to slowly add this until, and we're going to mix it on low until the dough separates from the side of the bowl there. So I'm going to sprinkle in just a little bit. Go ahead and mix it up some. And sometimes it'll ride up, so you want to get a rubber spatula like that and go ahead and push it down as you're doing this. Add a little bit more. And go ahead and push down one more time. Yeah, it's starting to look good. Tasty. I could honestly eat a ton of raw cookie dough if people would let me. And just a little bit more. And the problem with my hand mixer is that there's barely a low setting. I try to put it as low as I can, and it still sends stuff flying everywhere. I don't mind. Still gets the job done. Push that down one more time. Oh yeah, it's starting to come together nicely. Alright, last little bit of flour here. Alright, and free up as much of this stuff in my mixer as I can. Turn on the high. Gotta be careful doing that though, because if you're not, that'll send stuff flying everywhere, which you don't really want. Alright. Now, you'll want to cut this in half, and if you have any wax paper, wrap it in wax paper and refrigerate it for around 2 hours. Me, I'm going to go overnight because it's pretty late and I got work in the morning. So, tomorrow, after I get home from work, we're going to bake up this beauty here, and we're going to make some cookies. See you tomorrow, YouTube. Hi, YouTube. It is the very next day, and my dough is pretty much ready to go. Now, the instructions will tell you to, throw down some powdered sugar, roll the dough out, get your cookie cutters, and, cookie cut, cookie cut, cookie cut. You can do that if you want. Me, I'm trying to think outside the cookie cutter. So what I'm doing is I'm basically remembering that it's a hardened dough, and I'm working with it as such. I'm doing my own shapes. I'll maybe flatten around and cut some out with a knife. Just kind of do my own thing. It does not have to be perfect, but it's a lot more creative, I think, than using your standard cookie cutter set. Right now I am making a very happy son, and I'll go ahead and show you guys right before I'm about to stick these in the oven. Speaking of the oven, it's preheated to 375 degrees. And as I said yesterday, we're going to bake these for about 7 to 9 minutes once they go in. Do a nice little mouth on this guy. Alright, I'm going to do a whole bunch more cookies. I will go ahead and show you guys when they're ready to go in. See you in just a minute. Alright, so here's the shapes I'm going to start out with. Small oven, small kitchen, so, you know, I can only do so much at one point in time. This will be the first round of cookies that I do. I'm going to go ahead and stick these in the oven, and then when all the cookies are done, and they're done cooling, I'll go ahead and show you what all I've done. Anyways, I'll see you in a little bit. Well, there you go. Cookies are done. They're nice and cool. It's important once you remove the cookies from the oven to go ahead and let them cool on the baking sheet for, probably about 2 or 3 minutes, just to let them kind of solidify up before you transfer them to whatever you're transferring them to. Then let them cool just a little bit more so they can be edible. There it is. Food as art. See, the thing is that art is something that can permeate our life if we allow it. We can pretty much turn anything that we take for granted into some form of expression. In this case, food. Cookies. These things are so delicious. So delicious. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, do all that, and I'll see you in my next video. Tomorrow night, we'll be making bread.